adolescents or teenagers between the ages of 10 and 19.
And later, Rainbow Trust Foundation, a non governmental organization, donates some educational books to support City FM, City TV's Easter Orphan Project. We have all that and more on the City Prime News. Do stay with us.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
We are also live across the country. In the Western region, you're listening to us on Ajinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa. In the Still in the Western region, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. The Bono region, Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyain. The Shanti region, we are live on Ajinpa 99.9 FM in Nkari. The Volta region, Heritage 10.7 FM in Hohwe, and Freedom 88.1 FM in Sogakope. The Northern region, Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba. You're listening to us live on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, and in the Northeast region, Nobia FM 98.1 FM in Nalerugu. My name is Nashika Caesar, and this afternoon I'm here with
Caleb Kuda.
Now to our first story. A 43-year-old man, Kwejo Afum, has been stabbed to death at Citi in the Citi Riaso municipality of the Western North region. The sudden incident occurred yesterday at about 7:30 p.m. near the house of the deceased. According to reports, the suspect, Adamu Buzanga, was handed over to the assemblyman to avoid an attack on him by angry residents. Speaking to City News, the assemblyman for Citi Enyim, Isaac Asante, tells City News the incident has been reported to the Citi Riaso District Police Command.
Easy na mmanya wo bisikan wo opposite babia siwas secondary school no no nti mahuma no se me de ne ba na mafra unit committee chairman say omna no mfre police ni na mihie na yehu kwan yabefa so a yede ma.
I was asleep when a unit committee member called me about a stabbing incident. We met members of the community who had apprehended the suspect. I called the police as the youth wanted to attack him. The police tried their best to get the suspect out of the area. The body was left to the family for burial after the youth insisted that it be left by the police. Investigations are ongoing.
Ni owo se kan de police for by am de ne kwai but body ndi na ofi nti police for no by no am de kwai later na fofora ba but waiting for ba se am be fa body no na ka am de na ko na boys ne se am mpene.
Isaac Asante is the assemblyman for Citi Anyam electoral area in the Western North region. Caleb has other stories.
That's correct. Now, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, has set Sunday, April 23, 2023, to hold parliamentary primaries in the Kumau constituency ahead of the by-election. The by-election has been necessitated following the death of the Member of Parliament, Philip Baswa. The NPP is expected to open nominations for the primaries from Tuesday, April 11 to Friday, April 14. General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong, has been speaking on the timetable for the by-election.
As you recall, not long ago, an unfortunate news got to us as a political party with us losing our member of parliament for Kumau. And by constitutional provision, once a member of parliament loses his life, the moment the Speaker of Parliament writes to the Electoral Commission and the Electoral Commission acknowledges receipt of the letter, the time starts ticking, and the Electoral Commission has 60 days within which to organize the by-elections. So, assuming the Electoral Commission receives the letter this week, it means the 60 days have started, and the elections for the by-elections should be held at latest by maybe first week in June. So, as a political party, definitely we will be contesting for that seat. So we need to begin our process of selecting or electing our candidates for the by-elections. So on the basis of that, I issued the press release to communicate to the rank and file of the party for those who have interest to contest the party's primaries to know the details. So the opening of nomination will be on the 12th, and the whole process towards the vetting, filing of nomination and appeals and notice of fools and our primaries will end on 23rd of April.
New Patriotic Party General Secretary Justin Kodua Frimpong.
Let's now turn our attention to the National Democratic Congress, because the NDC has given the green light to all aspiring members of parliament in the Greater Accra region to begin their campaigns in their respective constituencies. This comes after the successful vetting of 111 aspirants out of the number 3 were disqualified. Out of this number, 3 were disqualified. 1 is pending, while vetting for 3 of the aspirants for the Ayawaso West Wogon seat has been suspended. The party explained that it is awaiting a report of an investigation into some irregularities with the filing of forms in Ayawaso West Wogon. The Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Theophilus Tetechai, has been speaking to Citi News.
The committee will meet and then write a report on all the vetting that has been done. Then those who have been disqualified, finally, the committee will have to write officially to them, indicating to them the reasons why they have been disqualified, so that if they are not maybe satisfied with the conditions for disqualification, they can then go ahead and then appeal. So we've put everything in place. Our national leadership, they will in turn give us a true state of affairs, because we are not handling the system. We are not handling the system. They are handling the system. So they are better placed to advise us as to what direction to take. And then we communicate to our party as to those that are qualified. And then we submit their documentation. Once you are qualified, it means you are now free to do your campaigning till the 13th of May, when the elections will be held. So far, I can say 3. And one is on hold, because we are ensuring that we have the right answers to what we want.
That was Theophilus Tetechai, who is the Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the National Democratic Congress.
Let's stay with the NDC because it is assuring residents of La of completing the La General Hospital if voted into office in the 2024 general elections. The party has been criticizing the Nanado-led administration for failing to complete the facility, which was demolished in July 2020 after reports of structural defects. President Akufo-Addo subsequently on August 10, 2020, cut the sword for the commencement of the construction of the La General Hospital redevelopment project, but little progress has been made. Member of Parliament for La Dade-Kotopon, who is seeking to be re-elected in the constituency as MP, Rita Na Odole-Soa, says the NDC is committed to completing the hospital when it returns to power.
I'm still fighting for the hospital to be constructed. And so the people of Dade-Kotopon are aware of what I have done to call on the government to reconstruct the La General Hospital, and they haven't done it. And we know His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has done it before. That is why I'm calling on the delegates that when 13th of May, when they vote with Tano Odole-Soa, they should vote for John Dramani Mahama, because he is the man coming to construct the La General Hospital for the good people of La. MPP hasn't got anything good for the people of Dade-Kotopon. They pulled down the General Hospital, they pulled down the trade fair, and they have rendered people redundant in Dade-Kotopon. Therefore, I'm calling on the good people of Dade-Kotopon. Let's come 2024, after the primaries, let's vote MPP out of Dade-Kotopon for good, because they have nothing good to offer us. Ayazu.
Rita Na Odole-Soa is Member of Parliament for La Dade-Kotopon.
Now, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has directed all digital transport operators to halt the collection of the new digital transport fee. According to the DVLA, this is because of concerns raised by the public over the implementation of the fees. In a press statement, the authority stated that it would consult with the Ministry of Transport and other stakeholders for their inputs. In other news, health officers at Ahafano South in the Ashanti region have expressed worry over the increasing cases of teenage pregnancies among children in the area. According to the health officers, children as young as 10 years are getting pregnant due to the lack of parental guidance and other factors. District Director of Health Services at Ahafano Southwest, Dr. Ruben Bedra, who described the canker as a public health issue, called on all to help fight the menace.
Teenage pregnancy is a big public health and social canker in Ghana. The only thing is that people are not talking about it, and we decided to highlight it as part of the end of year performance review. We are seeing a surge and an increase in number of teenagers or adolescents who are getting pregnant in our district. Last year, the previous year, that was 2021, about 16% of all pregnancies that were recorded in our facility were adolescents or teenagers between the ages of 10 and 19. Last year, which was 2022, there was an increase in terms of percentage from 16% to 18.2%. In fact, about 408 of our pregnancies were adolescents within the ages of 10 to 19. The most interesting part is that some of the girls are what we call the early teens at the age of between 10 and 14. So yes, it is a public health concern because we are seeing increasing numbers and also the early big public health issue.
Dr. Bedra further outlined some measures they are putting in place as health officers to deal with the issue.
There are some interventions and we are able to attract some NGOs. Currently, we are working with one NGO called Women's Health Well. And this NGO is helping we have what we call girl club in most of the schools. And we have registered more than 700 girls. And we have trained facilitators who are teachers from the schools in adolescent reproductive health issues. So issues from their menses, issues from issues, how they can protect themselves, issues of how they will be able to have their own capacity to decide when there are advances from the men or from the boys. And each week we have a topic which is treated with these girls in the club. And so that is addressing the issue of low knowledge in adolescent and reproductive health issues, and for them to be able to have knowledge and take decisions for themselves too. We are also, through this NGO, Women's Health Well, we are distributing sanitary pads to all girls every month, and we are giving packages for each which contains a pack of 4 sanitary pads and with sanitizers, with a whole lot of other things in it. So from that point, we think that we are addressing part of the issue. We also have adolescent reproductive health clinics or corners in our facility. So when these girls have problems in the schools or at home and they come to the facility, they don't just mingle with the general population at the OPD. So we have the corner, we direct them there. There are trained nurses and midwives who counsel them depending on their issue. Now we are also entering the secondary schools also to meet the girls on regular basis to teach them knowledge and skills about reproductive health issues.
That was the District Director of Health Services at Ahafano Southwest, Dr. Ruben Bedra.
Let's take you to the Upper East region, where the chiefs and community members of the Bongosoe community there are demanding the immediate release of 11 persons standing trial for attacking herdsmen in the area. The chiefs and people of Bongosoe alleged that 3 herdsmen attacked and broke the leg of a resident who went fishing at the riverside on March 28 this year. The situation led to a reprisal on the herdsmen by the community members, resulting in the arrest of 11 persons who are currently standing trial at the Bolgatanga High Court. But addressing a press conference today in Bongosoe, the chiefs and community members of the area described the basis for the arrest and prosecution of the 11 persons as baseless. Vitus Azim is spokesperson for the community.
All the young men that were arrested should be released unconditionally and immediately, and the prosecution discontinued. 2, that the police investigate and bring the perpetrators of the heinous crime on the young man to book. 3, that the assembly foots the medical bills of the injured man and retrieve his motorcycle and mobile phone for him. 4, that the Fulani herdsmen pack away from Bongoso in the next 1 month. They are roaming herdsmen that should not try to make Bongoso their permanent home, especially as they are clearly making an attempt to seize our lands. We wish to make it clear that the chiefs, assembly members, and elders of Bongoso can no longer assure the Fulani herdsmen of their safety if they do not vacate the community. In conclusion, we wish to thank the media and other visitors for their presence, and we urge them to give a fair and balanced reportage of the situation.
Vitus Azim, a spokesperson for the Bongosoan community in the Upper East region.
Now, the police are on a manhunt for 7 male suspects who escaped from their custody at the Nkwanta South Divisional Police Station. LAC, however, eluded the 8th suspect, a female, Afi Danjuma, who was rearrested. She has been rushed to the Nkwanta South Municipal Government Hospital for treatment after she allegedly drank bleach in an attempt to commit suicide just before her rearrest. The incident occurred on Tuesday, April 4, when the policewoman on duty attempted to lock the cells. The suspect allegedly rushed towards her, overpowered her, and fled. The police are appealing to the public to provide information to enable them rearrest all the suspects.
The Namibian High Commissioner to Ghana, Selma Asifala Musavia, says she's optimistic about connecting the private sector of Namibia and that of Ghana. The High Commissioner noted that her aim is to improve intra-Africa trade between the two countries, while urging both countries to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The High Commissioner visited the Amentemanze Palace to interact with traditional authorities, the COA Research and Manufacturing Company, and a food processing company to get a better understanding of the operations. Speaking to Citi News after her visit, the High Commissioner called on the two countries to work together.
We are living in the era of intra-African trade, being spearheaded by the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat. I decided to come to Central Region to come and explore business opportunities. What I want is to connect the private sector of Namibia and Ghana, especially women who are in SMEs, so that we can take advantage of this vast African market. I am so impressed, the level of industrialization that is taking place. All we need to do as Africans is to get to know what we are producing, then we can trade. I've seen so many opportunities. I've met vibrant women who are in the production of artifacts, foodstuff. At the moment, I'm actually at an upcoming factory where they are producing spices. So I'm very happy, and I have no doubt that my visit to the Central Region is going to be a great success.
That was the Namibian High Commissioner to Ghana, Selma Asifala Musavia, speaking at the Amentemanze Palace in the Central Region.
Now, in other news, the Electricity Company of Ghana is cautioning persons and organizations who prevent their staff from gaining access to meters to desist from the act. According to the power distributing company, it has noticed that some consumers deny engineers who are with the revenue mobilization team from getting access to their meters. Briefing the media on the recent development in Tema today, the general manager of the Tema region, Engineer Ankoma Emmanuel, said such obstructions hinder their operations.
We have some few encountering with customers who, attempt to, resist ECG staff from entering their premises. We have identifications, so we want to encourage customers. If you have any doubt, please ask of the person's ID. If you resist, if you disallow us to enter, to have access to our meters, it's not the best. So please allow any ECG staff to enter. We've announced it's a nationwide exercise, and we expect that our customers cooperate with us. We are in just to dialogue, negotiate with you, to collect our money. Let's have our money, and we have no problem with you. If you resist us from entering your premises, then we need to take it from a different angle. and that will not be better for all of us. We need to build this nation together. And I want to use this platform to encourage everyone to allow the exercise to go on in the expected manner. Thank you.
Are there cases where some of your members have been?
Yeah, we've had some few cases in Nungwa and other places that they refuse our staff from entry. It's not a good thing at all, but we've taken measures to address that.
Engineer Nkuma Emmanuel is the general manager of the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Tema region. You're listening to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nashika Caesar, doing this with Caleb Kuda. Still ahead, the Ghana Armed Forces has seized 6 excavators, 120 Shangfang machines, and other water pump machines in the first quarter of 2023. We'll tell you more when we return from this break. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant, and she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? Eh? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Listen up, people. There's good news for Airtel Tigo customers who haven't started and those who are yet to complete their SIM re-registration. Yes, good news. Complete your SIM re-registration and get free 5GB data falla to browse, chat, Zoom, TikTok, Snap, and do more on Airtel Tigo to change your world. If your SIM has been blocked, don't worry. You can have your number back and also get a whopping 5GB data as soon as you register with your Ghana card. Simply visit the nearest Airtel Tigo shop or agent today. Complete your SIM registration now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now the Ghana Armed Forces has seized 6 excavators, 120 Shanfan machines, and other water pump machines in the first quarter of 2023 within the Southern Command. The GAF maintains that its surveillance in the various mining areas, including the Central, Western, and Ashanti regions, has contributed to the improvement of the turbidity levels of some major rivers. The Ghana Armed Forces further added that its operations in the Central Command for the first quarter led to the confiscation of 1 excavator, a Toyota Fortuner, and a Honda Fit. In a statement issued on Thursday, April 6, and signed by the Director of Public Relations, Naval Captain Michael Adolabi, the Ghana Armed Forces assured of its commitment to fight illegal mining on river bodies and in the forest reserves.
Moving on, the Ghana Water Company Limited says it is still continuing with its nationwide disconnection exercise to recover its debts valued at about 800 million Ghana cedis. Citi News checks reveal that the nationwide exercise, which commenced yesterday, had some of the company's clients paying off their debts. According to the company, it will not relent on its efforts until it has been able to fully recover its debt. The company, led by its managing director, Engineer Dr. Clifford Baimer, has so far recovered over 2 million cedis from companies including Ufresh, Casa, and Printex.
Now, the Trades Union Congress, TUC, says it is hopeful that the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations' involvement in their demand for the reinstatement of dismissed workers by Sanon Asogli Power Ghana Limited will yield positive results. The union has threatened to picket or embark on a strike action if the management of Sanon Asogli Power Ghana Limited does not reinstate 3 dismissed workers who happen to be their local union leaders. Speaking to Citi News, the Deputy Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Joshua Ansah, says they will not relent in embarking on their intended industrial action if their demand is not heeded too.
For now, we have the hope that we may hear positively from management. Otherwise, we will go ahead with whatever plans that we have envisaged. And we hope that they will do it to avoid any industrial action in this very country. Because the Minister for Employment has hinted that he is personally taking keen interest in this matter to ensure that it is resolved amicably. Anything short of that, I think that we have no alternative than to actually solidarize with our workers at home, because we cannot allow this such abusing this thing to continue in this very country. But interestingly, as I speak to you, yesterday there was another incident in Shiani. A Chinese manager has put a gun at a deputy secretary general of a timber workers union. You see, this thing is not controlled. Very soon, Ghanaians will be taking place in this very country. And we are not going to sit down for this thing to happen.
That was the Deputy General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Joshua Ansah there.
Human and vehicular congestion remains a major challenge affecting mobility within the Greater Kumasi metropolitan area of the Ashanti region. Many people have had cause to complain about the long hours they spend in traffic, which negatively affects productivity. In a bid to address this challenge, city authorities are securing funding to procure more large-capacity vehicles to convey passengers and also re-engineer the road networks. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief Edward Opongmafo has more. We'll bring you that report soon.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has described the death of former Minister of Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Anthony Osei-Akoto, as a big blow to the government. The former Old Tafo MP died on March 20 after a short illness. Speaking at a meeting with the family of the late minister at the Jubilee House, Nana Akufo-Addo says the government and the NPP will miss the former minister dearly. You're listening to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nashika Caesar and I'm doing this with Caleb Kuda. Stories we've brought you so far include a New Patriotic Party NPP sets date for parliamentary primaries in the Kumewu constituency ahead of the by-elections necessitated by the death of Member of Parliament Philip Beswa. Also, we brought you Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority DVLA direct all digital transport operators to halt the collection of the new digital transport fees. And also officials at Ahafua South in the Ashanti region worried over the increasing cases of teenage pregnancies in the area. Caleb will now bring us some other stories.
The Secretary General of the Palermo Municipality Chamber of Commerce, Guedo Barcelona, has hinted of plans by the chamber to increase its trade with Ghana following the European Union-funded Twin Cities in Sustainable Partnership Program between Sekondi Takoradi and Palermo Municipality of Italy. Speaking to Citi News during a visit by a delegation from Sekondi Takoradi to the Chamber's office in Palermo, Guedo Barcelona said Italy currently imports a lot of goods from Ghana but hopes to expand its trade with Ghana. Citi News' Akwesi Ajayanim has more from Palermo.
Italy is currently Ghana's 13th biggest importer when it comes to goods from the African continent. But the chamber over here in Italy is currently seeking to actually increase the trade with the Ghanaian Chamber of Commerce. And this very port, the Palermo city in the southern part of Italy, is actually going to be the key port where the trade is expected to actually be pivoted.
With the port undergoing expansion just like the Takoradi port in Ghana, the city is looking to increase its trade and seeking opportunities elsewhere. It is in line with this that the European Union-funded Twin Cities in Sustainable Partnership Program has brought Sekondi Takoradi and Palermo Municipality together to promote the exchange of good practices in sustainable and inclusive urban governance. While welcoming a delegation from the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, led by the mayor, Abdul Mumin Issa, the Secretary General of the Palermo Chamber of Commerce said They are optimistic trade can be done between the two cities, especially in solar technology investment.
This meet was a very first meet about many potential deals with Ghana enterprises, and I like to say that we have to make more meet with enterprise and to increase all the system export import Italy Ghana. I think there are many ways to do this. There are very opportunity in agriculture, and I think that there are very opportunity in technical change. And I think very important way is the solar energy.
On his part, the Chief Executive Officer of the Sekenita Credit Chamber of Commerce and Industry, while hopeful of the positives to come from the new relationship, said his office is creating the right avenues for investment.
As a chamber, we're putting up an MOU with the Palermo Chamber, and what the objective is to really put the two businesses together, starting with an international trade fair here in Palermo later this year, where Ghanaian businesses, Sekendi Takoradi businesses in specific, will be brought here with their product to exhibit, from traditional products that are now gaining international attention through food processing, all the new forms of processed food that have emerged will all join us to come over, including processed wood, different types of processed wood. You know, Western region is the hub of the wood industry in Ghana. Now we no longer export round logs. We do processed wood. And most companies in Sekendi Takoradi are going to join us in this exhibition, and that is aimed at boosting the trade between Sekendi Takoradi through our port, basically, and Palermo through their port, which is just here.
The president of the Ghana Sicily Business Forum, who coordinated the visit, explained the potential benefits of the project to the two cities.
It's a long-term project, so having strong roots, also involving the business community, the Chamber of Commerce, is very important. The town offers different sectors, different area of collaboration. I'm sure that with the vibrant community in Sekendi Takoradi, it will be possible to have very good business for the main interests of the communities.
Secretary General of the Port of Palermo, Luca Lupi, who also received the Sekendi Takoradi delegation after a short meeting, took the delegation around the facility. The delegation also visited the ongoing expansion site at the port to accommodate tourist and leisure terminals. Luca Lupi said the port is ready to go into special arrangement with the city of Sekendi Takoradi to improve trade.
We had the pleasure of hosting such an interesting delegation where we analyzed together some opportunities for cooperation. We see many opportunities in this field because I think that business that we can develop together, so we will see in the coming months to establish a kind of relationship in order to see how can we proceed in this way. But I'm really confident that there will be plenty of opportunities to cooperate together.
The mayor of Sekendi Takoradi, Abdul Mumin Issa, noted that the tour has opened opportunities for collaboration with the Port of Palermo.
There are a lot of potentials when it comes to maritime operations in Sekendi Takoradi, especially with the newly expanded port, which has a draft of about 16 meters. This is big enough to accommodate, it's deep enough to accommodate larger vessels, cruise ships such as this, and cargo and bulk vessels. And I believe this trip has given us an eye-opener as to where we can collaborate with the Port of Palermo and to do business together. And like the managers also said, they are also interested in having business operation outside their jurisdiction. And I believe Takoradi stands tall when it comes to areas of maritime operation.
For Citi News, Amakwesi in Palermo in southern Italy.
Now let's take you back to Kumasi from Palermo and to that story where human vehicular congestion remains a major challenge affecting mobility within the greater Kumasi metropolitan area of the Ashanti region. Many people have had cause to complain about the long hours they spend in traffic, which negatively affects productivity. In a bid to address this challenge, city authorities are securing funding to procure more large capacity vehicles to convey passengers and also re-engineer the road networks. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief, Edward Opomafo, reports.
Using the central business district of Kumasi during peak hours of the day can be a daunting task. One is more likely to spend more hours in traffic for trips that ordinarily should have taken few minutes. With many people competing for spaces, the human traffic can at times be unbearable. This situation goes beyond the central business district of Kumasi itself, as the case is similar in many other areas within the greater Kumasi metropolitan area. Authorities have thus developed what they call the Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan to help tackle the issue. Williams Aka is the head of Transportation Engineering Division at CSIR.
And the idea is to come up with a plan which will meet our needs, our transport needs, which means to be able to travel safely, affordable, comfortable, without impacting negatively on future generations. So that is what we did. We've gone through different stages, data collection stages where we did household surveys, we've done traffic data collections. We've come up with analysis of the problem. We also done a lot of consultation. We've visited all the 16 MMDAs. We've also had stakeholder consultations with all relevant stakeholders, and we've come up with a solution. We came up with two proposals. The first one is more focused on public transportation, and that's where we're talking about the bus rapid transits. And we did a multi-criteria analysis, and we identified that it has a huge potential. The second proposal is focused on infrastructure, that is improving on our infrastructure and non-motorized transport system. Yeah, this also has its own pros and cons. So after the multi-criteria analysis, we've done a presentation first to the technical committee, which is the technical people with the assemblies, and then the other agencies.
The Ashanti Regional Minister, Samuel Semensa, is hopeful the initiative, expected to be financed by the African Development Bank, will significantly help address the challenge.
We realize that most of the public vehicles we have are small capacity vehicles. For instance, if you take the trotro, the maximum that they can take is about 20 people. Meanwhile, if we have a bus that can take about 60 people, that means that if you bring one large capacity bus, it's taking off about 3 vehicles off the road and minimizing the number of vehicles you have on the road at a particular time. But because before you can do this, it will also mean that you need some development on the route itself. You may have to create parking lots at the side of the roads where these long buses or big buses can park for people to board or to alight. Besides that, you need even car park, maybe at the outskirts or the peripheries of most of these assemblies, so that people can even park their car at these parking spaces and then use the large capacity buses and come to town.
He, however, wants the initiative to be integrated with other projects aimed at tackling mobility in Greater Kumasi to avoid overlapping of responsibilities.
Other projects also going on which are also tackling mobility, like the bus rapid transport system. All those ones are ongoing. We have the CUM also ongoing. That is why I was saying that I think it's necessary for us to integrate all these transport projects that are going on in Greater Kumasi, so to avoid overlapping and then maybe waste of resources. Where we realize that we have one project tackling a certain area which is under another project, we can make them and save some resources, maybe for the widening of the routes and other aspects. So it's a very good project. We are praying that everything will come out successfully. If you listen to the objectives that they set, one of them is education. That is education of the general public. If you educate the general public for them to understand the operations of the project, if they buy into it, it will make things very easy.
For the Agence Française Développement, AFD, the initiative is a sustainable one which will help tackle the mobility issues.
I think that the transport service is going to be more and more important, and the way that the transport demand is growing is not sustainable. So that's why we think that on AFD, so Agence Française de Développement, we think that it's very key to have a sustainable urban mobility plan to help to address all the transport issues, the traffic, the parking also, and to bring them more sustainable. Yes, I think that the enforcement is mainly not the best situation when it comes to implement the transport project. But the key, I think the most important thing is to have a very inclusive approach.
With a strong strategy, stakeholders are hopeful of significantly reducing challenges associated with urban mobility within the Ashanti region. For Citi News, I'm Edward Obonmafo, Kumasi.
And here in the Greater Accra region, my name is Nashika Caesar here with Caleb Kuda. Let's do some other stories now. Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Education Committee, Dr. Clement Apak, has chastised the government over its failure to pay caterers under the school feeding program. Currently, caterers under the school feeding program in the Shanti region have withdrawn their services over unpaid arrears and government failure to increase the fee for the cost per child. Speaking to Citi News, Dr. Clement Apak said this was negatively affecting academic activities.
The school feeding program was instituted in 2005, and the purpose was to ensure that people from less endowed backgrounds were assured of a meal a day to protect them from short-term hunger. And the purpose was to ensure that it enticed parents to send their wards to school. This was to increase enrollments and to retain the pupils in school. But given the current arrangement, where government has failed to pay the caterers, for which reason many of them have even stopped cooking to feed the pupils, it is defeating the purpose for which the program was instituted. So it is not just about owing the caterers, but it is also because we have a situation where the remittance per child is 97 pesos. Who in this economy can feed a child at 97 pesos? Can we even feed our pets at home, pet cats and pet dogs, at 97 pesos a day? So it's an indictment on the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led government, and we ought to call them out.
Dr. Clement Apak also says the minority will hold the gender and education ministers before Parliament to answer questions on the school feeding program, as well as delays in the payment of capitation grants.
Well, as a matter of fact, we've already filed questions on both issues. And so, yes, we are hoping that the questions, when admitted and slated, the minister will come to Parliament and respond to why we still owe capitation grants, to why head teachers at the basic school level should continue to be burdened with having to run public basic schools when indeed monies have been made available. On the issue of the school feeding program, we've also filed questions to the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. So as the NDC, we are doing our part. But unfortunately, it looks like the MPP side is not willing to call a spade a spade. They have been part of the reason making excuses for their ministers and their government. And we are calling on them to put Ghana first.
Dr. Clement Apak is a Member of Parliament for Bulsa South and also Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Education Committee. You're listening to the Citi Prime News on Citi 97.3 FM. My name is Nashika Caesar. We'll go for a quick break. When we return, we'll tell you more. But we'll return with Rainbow Trust Foundation, a non-governmental organizations, donate some educational books to support Citi FM, Citi TV's Easter Orphan Project. Stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Breaking news. An Easter sale at a local furniture store is causing a frenzy. Our correspondent Roland is at the scene. Hello, Roland.
Hey, that's mine. Give it back.
Roland?
Yes, I'm here at the Orca Decor sale where there's a 25% discount on everything in the store, and get your hands off that mattress. People are grabbing everything off the shelves and I said it's mine. Back to you, Sheila. Someone is trying to take my mattress. Hey!
Wow. Well, if you like a good discount, you need to be at the Orca Decor Easter sale from 3rd to 10th April. So head over there, get your 25% discount, and give your home a refresh this Easter. Think home, think Orca.
It's creamy, creamy plus, delicious milk. Creamy plus for you.
Creamy Plus is a delightfully delicious option whenever and wherever the occasion calls for milk. For your quick meals on the go or quality time at the dining table, jazz up your favorite Gary soakings, mashed kinky, cereals, and all hot and cold beverages with a creamy, protein-rich, healthy option of milk. Creamy Plus evaporated milk with vegetable fat is all you need to stay on the go. Creamy Plus evaporated milk is now available in a shop near you.
For bulk purchases, please contact Les Farm Distributors at Medina Ritz Junction on 0501 682 522, or Grace has found us at Akoko Photo Dansoman on 0245 162 747.
Creamy plus for you.
Creamy Plus evaporated milk.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Yes, it's NASCO Small Appliances Flash Sales Promo. You stay in or get outside. Happy times with your family, picnics, and more. Get go with the iconic NASCO Small Appliances. Your NASCO kettle, 99 Ghana cedis. Blenders, 279. NASCO coffee maker is going for 139 Ghana cedis. Portable dry iron, 99 Ghana. Portable water boiler, 129 Ghana cedis. Standing fan, 299. High quality popcorn maker, 259 Ghana cedis. You can take these anywhere as a joyous festive season awaits Ramadan and Easter. Blenders, sandwich maker. Yes, it is love from NASCO. And for those who want to stay indoors this season, go for your NASCO TV, AC, fridges, washing machines, and more. The iconic NASCO Small Appliances will take you everywhere.
Call 024-243-9437.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, is urging Parliament to expedite work on the bill seeking to criminalize the practice of witch doctors. The MP, together with some other colleagues, filed a private member's bill to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960 Act 29 to prohibit the practice by any person as a witch doctor or a witch finder and ban the declaration, accusation, naming or labeling of another person as a witch. Speaking to Citi News, the lawmaker says the passage of the bill would help deal with attacks on aged women who are often branded as witches.
On the 31st, the bill was first read in Parliament, and on behalf of the other sponsors, I laid the bill, and it's now being referred to the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, where I also serve as a deputy ranking member. So I'm hoping that with the beginning of the next sitting of Parliament, the committee will schedule a stakeholders engagement that will consider input by other stakeholders, and then also we can have the chance to do the clause by clause consideration and be able to report back to Parliament. But I believe that this is one of those bills that Parliament will have to really expedite action. And I'm calling on all the stakeholders from Action Aid, Sane Institute, FIDA, Ghana Bar Association. We talk about the judiciary. We talk about SHRAJ, Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. All those who are in the CSO space, Amnesty International. I think this is something we need to pay attention to. You talk about Ghana Police, particularly DOFSU, we need to pay attention to this because for me, it will be a scar on our conscience if we don't do anything until we hear that another woman has been lynched or somebody has been killed on account of witchcraft accusation.
That was a member of parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu. Killer brings us some other stories.
The General Agricultural Workers Union is calling for a national dialogue to map out strategies to mitigate the impact of global events on Ghana's agriculture and food security. This comes on the back of concerns raised by the World Bank over the impact of increasing prices of fertilizer and other agricultural inputs as a result of the Russian-Ukraine war. The World Bank has predicted a decline in food yields for global consumption following the inadequacy of fertilizer. Speaking to Citi News, the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Kariwe, says a national audit conversation and an audit of the Planting for Food and Jobs policy is needed to forestall the adverse impact of these global challenges on food security.
Development is a very tedious and expensive exercise. It requires a clear development policy. It also requires commitment. It also requires deployment of resources. And that is what we have not been doing all these years. Even where we have a good policy, we don't apply ourselves to it to the letter. We don't also implement it to when it should be completed. We abandon it. Look, we've got a very great idea. We started a project to construct the Kolobo irrigation dam, most dam. The dam has been abandoned, So how do we mitigate and promote food production coming into the future when we are not being able to, improve upon our irrigation agriculture? There are many areas within the agriculture sector which we have either touched on them or just made policy, and we don't follow up to ensure that the policy is implemented and executed to appreciate and then also within timelines. But we have not been able to do that. Our economy is so vulnerable to the external developments, and that is why today we can easily run to Ukraine, Russia, and attribute those people to be the cause of our problems. But it is only exposing us that our economy is not strong enough, particularly our agricultural system. We need a national, conversation on it. We need an overhaul of our agricultural production system. We need a national audit of the Planting for Food and Jobs program so that we can know the extent of the challenges that we have regarding our agricultural production so that we can together offer appropriate solutions to deal with them.
Edward Kariwe, General Secretary, General Agricultural Workers Union.
Now, a political scientist, Professor Ransford Jampu, says Ghanaians should be measured in their expectation in the demand for the resignation of 2 members on the board of the Electoral Commission. His comment follows latest calls by Kodeo demanding the resignation of Dr. Peter Apiahene and Hajia Salima Ahmed Tijani. Dr. Peter Apiahene is reported to be a patron of the Tertiary Student Confederation, Texan, bringing into question his neutrality. In an interview with Citi News, Professor Jampu said it is unlikely that the 2 would resign, as that has become the culture in Ghana.
We all know that if you call for the resignation of a typical Ghanaian public servant, you may merely be romancing a stone because the culture of resignation is not ingrained in our psyche. Unless one is pushed, people do not resign. If you look at what people are saying and what simple searches have shown, some of the people are partisan appointees. They are seen to be doing partisan politics. And so such people, asking them to go head independent institutions becomes quite problematic. It will appear that then we do not have much respect for independence of institutions, and we are not also serious in helping institutions that suffer legitimacy and trust deficit to heal. And so we can all join Reverend Digby and Kodio to pray for the peace of Ghana.
That was Professor Ransford Jampu, who is a political analyst.
Management of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, has constituted a committee to probe a video making rounds on social media about an altercation at the university's hostel. The viral video revealed a female student whipping her colleague in the UPSA hostel for spreading rumors about her. The institute says its preliminary investigations suggest that the culprit is a special non-tertiary program student in preparation for an external professional examination. Management of UPSA says the behavior exhibited in the video contravenes its code of conduct, hence persons found culpable would be made to face disciplinary procedures.
Now, a student has sustained injuries after a fire gutted a boys' dormitory block of the Business Senior High School in Sagnerugu municipality of the northern region. According to fire officials, the incident happened this dawn, which affected the school prefect's room. The firefighters say at the time of the incident, only one student was in the room. The Northern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO2 Baba Hudu, said the timely intervention of his men prevented the fire from spreading to other rooms.
This morning at about 0300 hours, we had a distress call from the assistant headmistress reporting of a fire outbreak at a business senior high school involving the boys' dormitory. Our men were dispatched to the scene upon arrival that the boys' dormitory, one of the rooms actually assigned to the prefect in the school, was engulfed with fire. So the men were able to suppress the fire and prevented it from spreading to the other parts of the dormitories. We actually observed also that yesterday students were given a break the children yesterday, and according to the headmistress, she instructed that those traveling to far distances or places should stay and embark on their journeys today. So the assistant boys prefect and two other students stayed behind to embark on their journey today. But later in the night, the other two guys decided to leave because they were reciting in Tamale here. So the assistant boys prefect alone was left in the dormitory, but unfortunately at that particular hour, he was woke up by the heat of the fire. So upon trying to escape from the fire, he was partially or part of his body was engulfed with the fire, but he was rushed to the hospital and is currently responding to treatment.
ADO2 Baba Hudu is the Northern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service.
Before we go, a non-governmental organization, Rainbow Trust Fund, has donated some educational material to support Citi FM and Citi TV's Easter Orphan Project. The Easter Orphan Project is an annual initiative championed by the Citi FM Foundation through the help of viewers and listeners to support selected orphanages in the country. Delivering the items, the marketing manager of the organization, Gilbert Osei Alomele, said their decision to support the project is to enable the less privileged children to get equitable quality education materials and also promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.
We heard about the Citi FM, Citi TV, Citi Foundation Easter Orphanage project. And for us, it is all about the orphans. Let me say that to be an orphan, it's not by choice. I mean, the kids don't want to be orphans, but it happened and they have to deal with it. For us at Rainbow, we have a very popular saying that a reading child is a winning child. Now, we think that these books that we have donated to these orphanages will help to impact and shape their lives. They'll build their vocabulary, and we expect them to be encouraged to have lifelong reading habits. It is not easy getting books to read these days. So therefore, what we have done is let's allow these young ones to get access to these quality books that we have donated, let it impact their lives, and also ensure that they'll be able to reach or whatever dreams that they have, those dreams can be realized.
That was the marketing manager for Rainbow Trust Foundation, Gilbert Osei Alomele. This year's Easter Fund project will see staff of Citi TV and CDFM spend Easter Monday in 3 orphanages: Tamale Children's Home at Tamale, King Jesus Charity Home in Kumasi, and the Baptist School Complex Orphanage, Troto, Suhum.
And that's it for Citi Prime News, which came to you live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, do log on to citynewsroom.com. My name is Nashika Caesar, and I was here with
Caleb Kuda.
Michael Obodu is up next with the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News. Many thanks for listening.
City 97.3. Accra. Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Hello and welcome to this afternoon's edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Coming up, Online Drivers Union welcomes a directive by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, for a halt in the collection of the new digital transport fees. Also, economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin describes a reduction of Ghana's growth rate by the World Bank as expected. Let's bring you details of our stories now. And the Online Drivers Union has welcomed the directive by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, for all digital transport operators to halt the collection of the new digital transport fee. This, according to the DVLA, is because of concerns raised by the public over the implementation of the fees. In a press statement, the authority stated that it would consult with the Ministry of Transport and other stakeholders for their input. By speaking to City Business News, President of the union, Francis Tinge, lauded the directive. Now, away from that, an economist, Professor Godfrey Bobkin, says the reduction of Ghana's growth rate by the World Bank was to be expected due to the ongoing economic challenges. The World Bank lowered the country's growth rate to under 2% in 2023, placing it at the 29th position. This is lower than the 2.7% earlier projected. The global body explained that low growth rate in the country is due to the heightened macroeconomic instability.
It's not surprising. It's consistent with the underlying data and what the data is telling us in terms of the outcome. In the 2023 budget itself, government had lowered our GDP growth for 2023 to 2.8% from the projection of 2022. That is largely consistent with the immediate impact of the fiscal consolidation measures, which will have implications for growth, employment, and income. From when government presented the 2023 budget, where growth was projected to 2.8%, from that time to now, if you look at what the economy has gone through, that tells you that even the 2.8% that the government projected in the 2023 budget cannot be achieved, because we have gone through a very expensive domestic debt exchange. Remember how much government gained from the domestic debt exchange in terms of fiscal savings is how much the private sector and households have lost. So in terms of liquidity losses to the banks, it will affect lending to private sector, lending to households. So if you put all these things together, you realize that our growth outcome for 2023 cannot be something that we can celebrate.
Professor Godfrey Bobkin is an economist. Now, Glyco Life Insurance Ghana has emphasized the importance of obtaining life insurance as a means of mitigating the financial impact of unexpected death on loved ones. The insurance company stressed that the current economic climate further underscores the necessity of this measure. Life insurance is an agreement between an individual and an insurance provider in which the individual makes regular payments in return for a lump sum payment referred to as a death benefit, which is given to their beneficiaries following their passing. During a media interview held alongside the presentation of claims to the family of the late soldier who lost his life in Ashaiman, Sheriff Moro, the chief sales officer of Glyco Life Insurance, John Smart, urged the public to take steps towards securing a policy.
Every insurance is very different. If you look at other aspects of insurance, which is motor and life insurance, they are two different things. For life insurance, so far as you pay your premium, when something happens, you don't need any other person to come with you to get your claim. So it makes it very simple. But when we only talk about insurance of vehicles and other things that delays, that is where the fear is. So I think it is also very important for the media to jump into this space and educate the public on what type of insurance are there and how do you get your claims. Is it difficult? It's not difficult. As a claim, you don't need any third party to help you with this claim. When this issue came up, nobody contacted us. We know that he has a policy with us. We know that a policy has a death benefit. So we followed up with him. It goes with all other insurance policies. So it is not as difficult, but it needs more explanation to all who are eligible to pay the premiums for the protections they need.
That was the Chief Sales Officer for Glyco Life Insurance, John Eka-Smart. Now, economist Professor Ebu Texan has emphasized the importance of boosting the agricultural sector in order to promote industrialization through value addition to drive transformation in the Ghanaian economy. This approach, according to him, would generate more employment opportunities to tackle the escalating levels of unemployment prevailing in the nation. His comments comes on the back of the University of Ghana's 75th anniversary public lecture on Ghana's economy on the theme Restructuring the National Economy, the Need for a Paradigm Shift.
As we speak, for the 17th time, we are going to the island to seek support. We have not been able to build a resilient economy that can withstand shocks. And part of the reason has been that the structural transformation itself has not moved along, tracked along the normal path of transformation where agriculture gives way for industry gives way for services. All too soon, agriculture gives way and services have taken over. And the services that we are talking about are low-skill, low technology services that are driving the Ghanaian economy. There's everything wrong with that structural transformation, and we need to get back to the books to see how we can get agriculture to transform our economy into industrialization, higher value addition. Remember about a couple of months ago, we had this discussion as to what we can do to structurally transform our economy, to get the number of jobs that the youth who are now highly educated.
He also added that boosting some key sectors of the economy will help the country withstand major shocks like the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have done a study that has shown that there are certain sectors that if we focus on to develop, will not only expand our economy, but will create the jobs that are necessary for the youth. We mentioned higher value addition in the agriculture sector, agro-processing, industrialization, and tourism. Now, this lecture by Yao Graham is supposed to look at where we've come from, what we got wrong, and how we can transform the Ghanaian economy to an economy that will be able to withstand external shocks that come our way. I mean, you can argue for whatever reasons, but there's